The Spirit's almighty freedom was not there. This is what life has lost. She was free to do whatever she willed to do, whatever she wanted to do, whatever she wished to do. She had full freedom. But now there are constraints, there are restrictions, there are impositions of other types on her, and life is bound by some other elements in the movements. The Spirit's almighty freedom was not here. A schoolman mind had captured life's large space. So a small mind, an educative mind, is what is trying to teach life, do this, do this, do this, and she is kind of forced to follow those instructions of the school teacher, but chose to live in bare and pottery rooms. The wideness she had, the vastness of a spirit, the joy of doing whatever she wanted to do is no more there now with her. Parked off from the too vast and dangerous universe, fearing to lose its soul in the infinite. Yes, she would not mind to do dangerous things also, if that could lead her to the possibilities of the infinite in life. She would undertake every risk and do whatever she wanted to do, but now it is no more there. A school mind is curbing all her actions. Even the idea's ample sweep was cut. You can have wide ideas, you can make great imaginations, you can introduce idea forces into life. Ideas, for instance, Marxism is an idea, capitalism is an idea, and you can imagine how these ideas have molded a certain section of society, how they have become powerful in their social activities. Religions, they have ideas, they mold your psychology, your activities, your behavior, your interactions, everything. But even there, that wideness is no more now. There you see restrictions. Capitalism, yes, is good, but it has its own limitations. Communism, yes, it is good, but it has its own limitations. Religions, philosophies, literature, all these are big ideas, but then they follow in their given constraints. They don't have that wide sweep of effectuation in life. Even the idea's ample sweep was cut. There is an element of truth, a genuine element of truth in communism, but then that has been cut off from the truth, and therefore it has become, in a certain sense, a negative force. We have seen already in life, when you have an exclusive stress on communism, it collapses. The same thing is going to happen when there is going to be an exclusive stress on capitalism. It has to collapse unless it broadens itself, unless it encompasses the wider aspects of life into its philosophy, into its action. It cannot remain there forever. It is an experiment tried by nature for a certain purpose, produce certain results, and if you don't understand that, nature has no hesitation in throwing it away. It can happen. We have got ideas of free education, liberal thought, freedom of speech. But again, there also you will see they are restricted. Unless there is the element of the spirit operating into those things, they cannot survive too long. They have a certain role to play. They play the role, bring the society to a certain point, and then the force which is there behind them is withdrawn and they collapse. In fact, that is exactly what had happened in the Renaissance, European Renaissance. The religious spirit had really flowered up and gave something very beautiful to society, something worthwhile, something enduring, something progressive. But the moment it became restricted, it had to go. The age of faith had to be replaced by the age of reason. Science came. Science has done miracles. We are still striving on the miracle of science. It is necessary. The idea, force which is there in matter's possibilities has to be fully explored. And what a magnificent creation we see in that idea force. Matter flowering up to beautiful things. The present day world is a product of that idea force. But unless it really makes a genuine progress, what is matter? What is its purpose there? Why it should exist in that manner? Unless the spiritual element, spiritual in the sense, the true truth which is there in the materialism, unless that is discovered, it will not flourish. In fact, the process of universal process of decay, disintegration, death will hold all these things. Science has done wonderful things. We have reached outer space. We can go into the depths of matter, see the minutest elements. But then finally, what is the matter for? Is matter governed by habits, by laws? Does it have its own potentialities to express something of its own quality of love, beauty, joy, truth? Whatever is there, is it able to express by itself? Unless that thing opens out, matter cannot stand there anymore. Matter was not created to be just an instrument. It is also there to express its own possibilities which are latent in it, and they had to emerge. And that is the driving force behind all these activities. So if we don't lend ourselves to these driving elements, we are not serving the true purpose. We are not really true scientists. We are not true philosophers. We are not true thinkers at all in that sense. We are not even following, in that sense, true religion. So even the ideas ample sweep was cut. Materialism has been cut off because the other extreme was lost. Into a system chained to fixed pillars of thought. Yes, this is what we have built up. Pillars of thought. This. And we stick to that. Or riveted to matter's solid ground. Or else the soul was lost in its own heights. That is the other extreme. Matter is unyielding, and therefore the free soul of man, the human aspiration, the human longing, human desire to be free, to remove all the bondages, tries to find out some way out. What does it do? It does a very simple thing. It rejects matter. Matter is binding me? No. I would not like to get bound by matter. I would like to be free of matter and go elsewhere. I will go to Himalayas. I will go to mountains. I will go to the countryside and live a quiet life of peace and joy and happiness for myself. That is what I will do. That is what the ascetic will do. So on the one extreme, you have the materialist insisting on matter. On the other, you have the ascetic rejecting matter and longing freedom elsewhere, not in this world. Then what is this world here for? The meaning of that word is missed. What is the soul there for? The meaning of that is missed by the materialist. That is how we cut all our ideas and thoughts into bits. There is no integrality of vision, of approach, of living. Or else the soul was lost in its own heights, obeying the ideal's high-browed law, thought-based throne on unsubstantial air. So this is what we do. We build up castles in the air. Basically, we build up houses using cardboards. That is what we do, and try to go elsewhere like that. Thought based a throne on unsubstantial air, disdaining earth's flat triviality. Earth is flat in the sense that there is no joy, there is no chant, there is no variation. It is only materialist view, and it looks trivial for the soul who is now aspiring only to the heights. It barred reality out to live in dreams. So that is what we dream now, and remain in our happy dreams. We search life towards that dream, push our life towards that dream, and try to fulfill ourselves in a dream reality, not in actual life. Now this is a dichotomy, this is a sharp division between matter and spirit. They cannot be extremes like that. There has to be a joining link, a harmonizing connection between these two, and it is obligatory for the true seeker of truth to discover that link. But the life which we have here at the moment is cut into bits, and we are not able to join these bits together. If this is not, then what happens? Or all stepped into a systemed universe. We have made organized life. We have got now windows opening into windows, and going from one door to the other constantly. That is the organized life. But it is such a digitized life that we immediately feel, yes, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, it is helpful, it brings me a lot of joy also, but ultimately I am living an artificial life. I am looking for artificial intelligence. That won't do for me. I am a living person. I have got my own urges to fulfill, and I must fulfill those urges. Digitized life, yes, is useful. I can get connected to the entire world in a fraction of a second, in jiffy. I am here, I am there. Yes, it's true, but still it doesn't give me true satisfaction to my inner depth. There is a longing in my soul, in my heart, somewhere in my feelings. Something is missing here. Can there be something by which I get true satisfaction? That is the urge always there. or all stepped into a systemed universe. Life's empire was a managed continent. That is what has happened now, and that continent has been governed by digitizing every bit of information, by controlling here. By a remote control, you can do whatever you like here. You can destroy enemy tanks, you can destroy enemy reactors, enemy weapons, just by controlling here. Life's empire was managed continent. Its thought an army ranked and disciplined. You have to do this, otherwise the price you will pay is very heavy. Uniformed, they kept the logic of their fixed place, obviously. At the bidding of the trained centurion mind. So what is that we are doing? We are following the orders of the centurion mind. Do this, do that. The CEO or the company tells you, you have to do this, and you work for 15 hours a day to perform that duty. This is what happens. Centurion mind. Now this word centurion mind is a very beautiful phrase. It also tells us how vast, how intimate, how in terms of its civilizational depth, Sri Aurobindo had known the history of the world, and whenever an occasion arises, he will use that information, that knowledge, that encyclopedic understanding of things which are there here. Centurion mind. Centurion is a person who is the chief of a certain part of an army in the Roman army. Centurion is one, he has under his command a certain force. He is a person who draws greater salary than a person who controls a legion, and it is he who is there. Now it is the centurion mind. Under him maybe 100 soldiers or 100 persons working him, or 100 operators, or 100 technicians, or 100 IT engineers, whatever you want to call him. They are working under him, and they have to obey him. They have to obey him. That is what life has become now. It has become systematized, organized. Do this, do this, do this, do this. If you don't do that, you are thrown out. You will meet the consequences. At the bidding of the trained centurion mind. So the image of the Roman army centurion is what is now employed here to say how the life forces are governed by certain elements here. If it is not that, then what happens? Or each stepped into a station like a star in the sky. You are here, you are there, you are there, like a star. Each one is positioned in its place. Or each stepped into a station like a star, or marched through fixed and constellated heavens. Yes, the galaxies are moving, the universe is moving, going from one place to the other constantly, like that. And you do that, you are forced to do that thing. Or marched through fixed and constellated heaven, or kept this feudal rank among the peers. You have got the whole hierarchy. You are supposed to sit here, sit here, sit here, sit here. You cannot go and occupy any chair you like. You are given a fixed position and you have to sit in that position. The protocol has to be followed, has to be strictly observed. You cannot just go and greet the queen. You have to follow a long procedure, even if you are granted the permission to meet her. You see, you have to follow the protocol. Or march through fixed and constellated heavens, or kept his feudal rank among his appears in the sky's unchanging cosmic hierarchy. So you have got suns, you have got galaxies, you have got planets. That's a hierarchy by itself, and you are positioned accordingly. See, in the feudal system, each person had his position and location. He cannot go and occupy anywhere. If the feudal lord is giving a feast, then on the table or in the row or whatever you want to call it, the positions are marked according to your position in the rank. You cannot just go and occupy any seat or any table like that, you see. It was like that. Centurion mind, the rank, the feudal system. It is how life has now got organized under the control of mind. Or like a hybrid maiden with chaste eyes, forbidden to walk unveiled the public ways. So, a hybrid maiden, a girl who has been given a special kind of an education. She had to follow certain social etiquettes. In the Victorian age, they had to have certain type of clothes and robes. They could not wear anything they liked. The skirt must be of this length. The ornaments must be of this size. You must walk in this manner. Your steps should be like this. You cannot put that. Your shoes should be of a specified time. That is what the hybrid maiden was there. In fact, there were schools run in the Victorian period to train girls to follow certain social etiquettes. They were supposed to learn certain manners of society. They were taught mathematics, they were taught literature. They had to learn all these things. They were taught the correct pronunciation of words, language, speaking, styles, manners, saying yes, no, thank you, whatever is there. They had to follow certain etiquettes. They could not walk freely on the roads. They could not go to the bazaar and buy things like that. The bazaar would come to her house and give whatever she wanted. She could not go like that. So that was the custom. That is the hybrid maiden. So life has now become like that under constraints, or like a hybrid maiden with chaste eyes. She cannot look here and there. She has to look straight forward against a person. Forbidden to walk unveiled the public ways. So she had to put on the veil and then only go to the public places if at all. In fact, even there also she would be escorted. There will be guards. There will be people around her, and she had to walk in a certain manner. She must in closed, secluded chambers move. Yes, this is the garden in which you move. You cannot go into the jungle, into this forest. This is the jungle. This is the swimming pool where you have to swim. You cannot go and swim in a public place like that. She must in closed, secluded chambers move. Her feeling in cloisters live or gardened paths. She had no personal freedom to behave the way she liked. This is what the hybrid maiden was during the Victorian period. Luckily now another freedom has come to us. We don't know whether that freedom is being used in the extreme sense. Freedom is there, of course, required, but we do not understand also the necessity of responsibility which has to go with the freedom. Liberty, it has to be there, but liberty also gets associated with responsibility. Freedom and responsibility, they have to go together. That we miss presently in our life. We are in the modern age, basically the post World War II age, a free society everywhere except in certain regions, and we can do whatever we like. We have gone to such an extreme that we have wrong ideas about ourselves. Freedom does not mean that you throw away your clothes on the road and walk. You have certain responsibilities, certain values of life, and those who don't recognize. That is another bad element which has come out here, and that is an element which is not rising out of the force of life. It is an element whose birth is in our mental ideas, mental perversions, mental formulations. We think freedom means I can do whatever I like. I can go to the market without my clothes. That is not really freedom. That cannot be so, I see. You have to cherish certain values which will lift you up and then do certain things. Now that is another element which has come, the extreme use of mind in life. That is another danger, and we have to face that danger also. Basically, we have to recognize one important thing, that what are we here for? If we understand that, if we recognize our own true self, true identity, if we find, and if we strive to achieve that, then it is for that purpose the freedom is there. It is for that purpose that all the means are provided to you, not take money and squander away in vitalistic desires, fulfilling ugly things. Not for that purpose. It is meant to generate new values. If you are not able to generate new values in life with the means available at us, with the possibilities that can be opened out by us, if we cannot do that, then we have failed. Possibly failed. But nature will not allow you to do that. She will throw you out. She has no special love for you if you do wrong things. Ideas had come and gone. They have served their purpose, and the moment the purpose is over, they are discarded. We have to recognize that and live in the true values. If we do that, then we have really fulfilled ourselves in life.